been the most epic experience for myself personally and my business. And people ask me so many questions about how I did it, how it happened. And so I'm just beyond honored that you are here to share all the secrets.
I love it. I'm so excited to be here. It's so awesome. And yesterday was your mom's birthday. I know this because I am now your mom's Facebook. She's like one of my favorite people. I happy birthdayed her yesterday.
She loved it. She was like, Angela, message me. I'm on Facebook. I'm like, I love it.
It's awesome. So cool.
Okay, so these questions kind of came in a few different categories. Really, the first of like, how do I get started? Like this industry is so overwhelming. Everyone's heard the Jack Canfield, shopped how many hundreds of publishers.
356 rejections.
Right? So everybody's heard, this is just like a crazy overwhelming process. And I think it stops a lot of people before they even research or get started because they're so scared of like, this sounds super difficult.
Right.
And then there's the option to self-publish. And then, so there's just so much. Can you kind of help? I know it's a complicated question, but can you help kind of simplify that for anybody who's feeling like, where do I even start?
So I think the biggest problem is people automatically think about the masses or reaching many people or having as big a platform as possible, growing their platform, building their list. Everything is like, I almost like picture like you're standing on a stage and you're looking out at an audience of 1,000, but then if the camera pans back, there's 10,000, there's 1,000,000, there's 10 million, there's 1 billion, there's 7 billion. It's the whole world. You're standing on top of the world. And it feels so big.
Right.
And you think, well, that's how I'll know I'm making a difference. Like that's how, when I am approximately as popular as Barack Obama or Oprah Winfrey, then I'll know I've made it. Like that's a very high bar, and there's nothing wrong with dreaming big. I know you love dreamers.
Yep.
So like shout out to the dreamers. But I also think it's cool to dream big in small ways. Like what if you could completely change someone's life, but it was just one person or
Right.
20 people? My very first life coach I hired, I made a 14-month commitment. It was $1,000 a month. So that's $14,000. So how many clients would you need at $14,000? Right? Like if you had 10 clients a month and they all paid you $1,000, like that's probably big enough for now. You don't have to, I always say you don't have to go from zero to Oprah's couch.
Right.
Like, for right now, can we just go from 0 to 1 client? Who's the one person you could help right now with your book?
Yeah.
And so scary to think small. I think it's easier for people to think big because it's kind of never happening.
Right.
So I'll just think huge. But I think thinking really big is dangerous. And thinking really small, that's my biggest piece of advice is who is the one person you could help right now? Who are you 3 steps ahead of? Who could your book affect right now? Don't try to reach everyone. Reach one person.
I love that. I love that. So then for somebody who's like, okay, the book's been tapping me. I know I'm supposed to write a book. What are the actual steps that they should take before really writing? Yeah.
So the one thing is figure out why you want to do it. And I would separate ego from service. Because part of why you want to do it, if we're all going to be honest, is like part of you wants to be famous, acknowledged, applauded, recognized. There's some part of you that just wants people to be like, wow, she's a good writer, or oh, that's an interesting perspective. And that's totally cool. Like we can be honest about that, but that will be very disappointing very quickly. It's like thinking like, if you don't feel pretty and you're like, if I get a hot boyfriend,
right,
then I'll know I'm pretty. Like it feels nice the minute he asks you out, but at some point he's just like a pain in the ass who leaves his socks in the living room. You're not like, but he's handsome and therefore I must be attractive. You're like, oh my God, he has the weirdest nose boogers. Like you just get over it so fast.
It's so true. It's
So
so
you can't just say like, oh, well, if I write a fantastic book, then I will know I'm good enough. It's just like all of that outward seeking. It's real. We feel it. We need to acknowledge it. There's a message in it, but it's only going to get you so far and you're just going to be disappointed. So you can just skip the process if you want. If
Yeah.
you're not doing it for service, you're going to be disappointed. Doesn't matter who you work with, how good your writing is, whether your English teacher gives you an A on it or not, you won't be happy if you're looking outside for the answers.
I love that. So, okay. And so many of my listeners, and people that really kind of follow, they're all in that service mindset. They all really just want to make a difference. They all really just want to help people. And so I know you mentioned earlier the $14,000 life coach. And I'm kind of wondering, no one's really asked this directly, but I'm wondering, how do you get from, I constantly hear about people giving away stuff for free and giving, free. How do you get from giving your stuff away for free to justifying a $14,000 ticket item, or kind of moving and making this a lucrative business? That makes sense?
I think if you're solving a problem that people are paying to solve now anyway, and you can solve it better, faster, more thoroughly, in some way better, cheaper, faster, better, I guess are the options, then you can justify the price. So for instance, I spent the very first time I tried to lose weight was 1992, and I joined Jenny Craig. And Jenny Craig was at the time, it was like $300 a month, plus food, which is about $300 a week, plus grocery shopping, plus I joined a gym. So I was definitely spending, I don't know, a bunch of money, $1,500 a month or something while I was on Jenny Craig. I was going to eat anyway. So it's always so hard how much do you say for the food?
Right.
To count the food, because I was going to eat something.
Right.
But let's say I was spending $1,500 a month, and to lose 100 pounds, it took me a year. I didn't lose all my weight, but I lost weight for a year and then I gained it all back. So I'm spending $1,500 a month for a year. That's like 20 grand. And it didn't work because at the end of the year, in 3 months, I gained all the weight back. So if you compare that $20,000 to a year of working with Brooke, which led to like permanent weight loss, it actually took longer. I didn't lose 100 pounds in a year. I lost 100 pounds over like 7 fucking years, which is exhausting. But I stuck with it because of what I learned in that year. So if you're going to spend the $20,000 either way on Jenny Craig or on Brooke, would you like to spend it on the permanent solution or the one that didn't work?
Brilliant.
Now, hers happened to be even less than Jenny Craig if you didn't count the food. But again, I was paying for food. I probably still joined a gym. So it's hard to do a one-for-one cost. But like, you have to find a solution to a problem that people are paying for and then give them a better solution.
I love that. And like really a solution that's going to truly work and truly impact them.
That's my
on it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Like, let's just do it if we're going to do it.
I love that. Okay. So what do you say to people? I get this all the time. Like, I'm just not ready. Like, they're getting ready to write their book. They're getting ready to like
one day in the future when I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're just not ready to call you, but they will be.
Totally.
What do you say to that?
I think you should own not being ready. So when somebody says to me, I'm not ready, but I'm going to be, I'm getting ready, I'm going to call you after I this or after I that, I'm like, don't call me. Just stay right where you are. It's obviously working for you. I think I was starting a diet on Monday for so much of my life that I should have just said, like, I'm just a person who weighs 300 pounds. And if I just owned being a person who weighed 300 pounds instead of, I didn't want to feel like someone who weighed 315 pounds. So instead, I was somebody whose diet was starting on Monday because that felt like something nicer to feel. I'm going to start losing weight soon, as opposed to I am 315 pounds and I'm not doing anything about it. The truth was I was 315 pounds and I wasn't doing anything about it. That was the actual truth. But because I would pretend I was going to be moving on with my life, I didn't actually just get to be where I was. And if I did that, I think I would have lost weight a lot sooner. I always use these weight loss metaphors, but what I mean by that, if you're thinking about quitting your job. So I have a friend. Oh my God, I totally love him. You haven't met him yet. Someday you'll meet him. He owns a leather bar, a gay leather bar in DC. It's the biggest gay leather bar in DC. It's called the DC Eagle. I love going there. I'm like his kid sister, and he like shows me off. And all the men with their naked asses, and I love a gay man and mother smoking cigars. So he runs this gay bar, but he has worked for the DC government the whole time I've known him, which is like, I met him right after 9/11, so like 16 years. Mm-hmm. Whole time I've known him, he was going to quit his job and like do the gay leather bar thing all the way. Like he's like half in, half out, working full time. He's exhausted. Nobody at the DC government respects him. Like he doesn't love his job. Like he's working too hard. This isn't what he's passionate about. He's actually passionate about service. He runs like these amazing charities, and the leather scene in DC is like the most charitable community. So I want to do more charity. I want to do more fundraising. I want to do this. I want to do that. And when I met him, I like believed it. Like I was like, oh, he's going to quit his job. But like 16 years later, dude's not going to quit his job. He wants to have a job and bitch.
Yes.
So if you want to have your job and bitch, just have your job and bitch. Because if you just say that instead of I'm going to quit soon, you're going to quit so much sooner. Like the reason I think he's been able to be miserable for 16 years is he has this stress outlet of saying, I'm going to quit. If you were not allowed to say the words, I'm going to quit. If you weren't allowed to say the words, like I would say to your person who says to you, like, I want to work with you, but I need to get ready. I would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to work with you then. I only work with people who are not ready. That would be such a bummer.
It's so good.
Because here's the thing. If you agree with them, if you're like, oh, totally, get ready and then call me, you're basically saying stay stuck for 16 years in a job that's beneath you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So basically it's if you don't feel ready, you're ready, or just admit you don't really want it.
Because the only time you'll feel ready is when you don't need it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm totally ready. Great. Then just go do it. You don't need to hire staff. You don't need to hire me. Just go. You've done it.
It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. Yeah. Okay. So now these are kind of questions really about the
Hi, Sue. Sue's
actual, oh my gosh, Sue is so epic. Sue is so epic. You would absolutely love Sue. So these are really questions about kind of the writing process. Yeah. And I really love this. One, how do you help your clients deal with writer's block? And you've written a ton of books. How have you dealt with writer's block?
Ooh, this one I had major writer's block on. So I came up with the idea for this book in October. And I did my inline in October. It's just my word for an outline. And I did my outline in October, and I was going to publish it in January. So my normal thing has been over the holidays, like over Thanksgiving or Christmas, I always write a book and then I publish it in January. Oh my God, this book did not want to come out. I would like sit down, I scheduled weekends, things would happen. Like I had a writing weekend scheduled, and then, I don't know, Jesse got invited to a birthday party, and I was like, well, can't write, gotta go to a birthday party for an 11-year-old. Like nothing would come up, and it would feel like this, yeah, I gotta go Christmas shopping. I don't know, I can't write a book. But then the weekend that I really had planned to do it, I ran over myself with a car. So that was the weekend I was supposed to write my book. on the 23rd. So between the 23rd and the 30th, I would plan to write my book. And on the 23rd, I ran over myself with a car. That was my form of writer's block, just to make sure this fucking book didn't get written. Yep. So then in January, I was going to write the book once I started feeling better. And then it like brought up all the PTSD from the accident. And then I was like, this book is just, maybe I shouldn't write it at all. I wouldn't have run over myself with a car if I.
Yep.
Okay, so here is the answer to writer's block. And it's so unpleasant, but the truth is there is a message in it. And the faster and harder you can lean into the question and get curious about why the writer's block is showing up, the faster you can get past it. So let's say you wanted to write a book about your year with the Peace Corps in Botswana. And you're super excited about writing it, and you like, you know, go to a writer's workshop and you write 1,500 words, and you promise yourself you're going to have your book finished by Christmas, and Christmas comes and goes and the book isn't finished. It's really easy to say, I suck. I'm not disciplined. I promised myself I was going to write every week. I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to write 5 pages. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. and then you don't do it. And you get into this cycle of like shame. And I even got into it with this book. But if instead you could be like, I wonder why I'm not writing. And just ask yourself that with no judgment. Just be totally curious. Like, there must be a reason I'm not writing that's serving me more than writing. What could it possibly be? So my book, this book that we're promoting right now, it's called Make 'em Beg to Publish Your Book. This book, back in October, November, and December, when I was supposed to write it, was called Publishing Reimagined. And the idea was to share with readers what I thought my vision of the future of publishing should be. And in March, I had gone to an amazing conference called the Smarter Artist Conference. And one of my favorite bloggers, a woman named Joanna Penn from the Creative Penn, was there. And she called herself a book futurist. And I was like, I would like to be a book futurist. And then she talked about the future of publishing. And I was like, I have opinions like Joanna Penn does. I want to be like Joanna Penn.
I love this.
And the whole time I planned the book, it was like, how can I be like Joanna Penn? It turns out Joanna Penn should be like Joanna Penn. I should be like Angela Lauria. Like, I loved what she was doing, but I had writer's block because I was trying to do some sort of an impersonation.
Right.
I know better than that, but I was skipping the step where you identify your voice. I was skipping making a personal connection with my reader. I identified my real reader. I knew who my ideal reader was, but a book, the different process way, a book is a conversation between two people. I was having a conversation between Joanna Penn and my ideal reader.
Right.
Which made it very difficult.
Yes.
So when I actually was like, wait a minute, what would I say if I sat down with Sue? What would I say if I sat down with Stephanie? Like, if I just had Stephanie over, what would I say to her about publishing? And then it was a totally different conversation, because when I was talking to you, I was like, here's what you need to do to get them to beg to publish your book. What Joanna Penn does, which is beautiful, I can't do it. She talks to everyone about the future of publishing. So I wanted to write a book about the future of publishing. Like, for the people. Like, I don't know how to write it. So when I was like, wait, what do I want to tell people? Like, look, you want a publisher to beg to publish your book? Here's what you need to do. And how I talk is so different than, there are changes coming to the publishing industry. Soon, people will publish their books all over the world at the same day in multiple languages. Like, who is that lady?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
So that was the message my writer's block gave me. That doesn't mean it's the same message for everyone, but there is a message in your writer's block. And if you shut the fuck up and listen to it, it will reveal itself.
I love it.
If you argue with it, it takes longer. And sometimes you run yourself over with a car.
Yep. That is absolutely brilliant. I mean, I remember writing my second book and thinking, a book about me, like surely I haven't lived long enough to have a book based on my experience. So I went and bought like 40 books and then
I will examine other people's lives that were worthy of a book.
They know how to do this. Then I was like, yeah, this doesn't, I mean, I have a beautiful bookcase now with all those books on it, but I haven't opened most of them. Like, no, that won't work. Okay, I love this question. What is the most common mistake you've seen people make during the writing process?
They start by writing. They get so excited about what they have to say. Yeah. And it is really exciting that they forget to connect with their reader. And they're just like, I'm going to say all this stuff. And nobody's listening. It's like you're in a room doing some sort of tap dance routine with nobody looking.
So the first step is really, who is this? Who am I speaking to? Who is the one?
Yep.
Right?
Staying in
having a conversation. That's brilliant.
Super hard.
So that might be the answer to this one. What are the tips you've seen change the game for people who have started writing their book and want to make sure it's in the form that will impact their readers most?
What do you mean by the form?
I know that's interesting.
I think it's like the structure, like how it's written.
Right. That's what I think she means.
Okay, test it. Actually, like, share it with people and see if it works.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant. And you don't have to share the whole thing. Like, you don't have to write the book to find out. But like, if you're connecting with your reader, you'll know if it's working, even if you're only sharing. Like, one of the first things I have people write is a purpose statement for each chapter. Like, what's the point of each chapter? How do you want the reader to be different at the end of each chapter? You can write, let's say you're going to have 10 chapters in your book. You can write 10 purpose statements and share them with people who you think would like your book. And if those purpose statements aren't resonating, then there's no need to write the whole chapter.
That's so good. That is so good. Okay, I have now some specific business questions. As you've grown your business, what are some of the things that have grown your credibility and reach the most?
Getting results for clients.
I love it.
I would rather, I don't have a website, don't have a business card, don't do anybody's telesummits, take down your Facebook page, your Facebook business page, don't do any Facebook ads, just find one client. Even if you need to stand in front of a grocery store and as people come out of the grocery store, ask them if they have the problem you solve, and just do that for 2 weeks until you find a client and get that client an amazing result. That's so much more valuable than having the world's best website, an amazing MailChimp integration, and, you know, a crazy awesome Facebook ad person.
Wow. Like that's an incredible response. And I think so many people are spending so much money doing all of these other things, and they're being told by so many other business coaches to go do and create and do all these other
I've seen some of the world's most beautiful Instagram pages from people who are making no money, and not making a difference and not impacting anyone's lives, but they have a beautiful Instagram page. I mean, okay.
Yep.
What does that get you? But when you change someone's life, like when you have a client and you act, and I don't care if you're doing lawn care, you should look at my lawn right now. Like, if somebody fucking knocked on my door and said they can make my lawn not look so mortifying, like, I have a multi-million-dollar home, and like, it looks like, Robin's calling time on us.
Oh no!
Like, it looks like some homeless lady lives here. And so I'm like, if somebody would come and make my lawn look beautiful, like, that could totally change my life.
Oh my God.
Don't underestimate the power of actually changing someone's life.
I love that. I love that. Okay. And before we go, for people who are listening, they're like, oh my gosh, I need to call her. I need to get in contact. I need to write my book. This needs to happen. Now's the time. What is the next thing that they need to do? How do they make that happen?
So I have a 19-minute class that I taught on how to make $250,000 from your book. Really? And it's called quartermillionbook.com. So they can go sign up for that free class. It's 19 minutes. Everybody can find 19 minutes. It's like a sitcom length activity without the commercials. There are no commercials. Go take that class. If you think that you want to write a book and you want to be able to make a big difference with it, maybe you want to traditionally publish it or self-publish it, go to quartermillionbook.com and you will learn how to write a book that generates real revenue that you can use for anything you want.
Brilliant. And can you show them the picture of your newest book again?
And you can get my book on Amazon. It's Make 'em Beg to Publish Your Book.
So brilliant. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I can't thank you enough. I really can't. It's so fun.
Have an amazing trip. I can't wait to catch up with you. I'm going to see you in Scotland. I know I'm part of the journey.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I can't wait. I really can't wait. We are going to have so much fun.
Mwah. I love you. We'll see you soon. Thanks to everybody for tuning in.
Love you. Bye.
Ciao.